Hi, this is Chris Imanitis with WeAreColerain.com here at Colerain High School in head football coach offices of Jordan Stevens, the new head football coach of Colerain High School. Joining us today, we have head coach Jordan Stevens of Colerain Cardinals, and also Kadar. And Kadar, can you pronounce your last name?
Kadar Karan.
Kadar Karan, the defensive coordinator, also of the Colerain Cardinals. We're very excited to be bringing you this interview today. We're going to get in depth with Coach, talk a little bit more about kind of his background, what about football it is that really drives him, and what are his plans and visions for the Colerain Cardinals as we move forward into 2025 and beyond. So, coaches, thank you again so much for being here. Really appreciate it. So, Coach, we're going to start with you. Obviously, brand new to the Colerain community. I'm sure you've been inundated with all kinds of people talking to you about, the history of Colerain and what it means. And obviously, familiar with Kerry Combs and Tom Bolden. You know these guys. Let's talk a little bit about you personally and introduce you kind of to the Colerain community. What kind of first got you into coaching football?
I think first and foremost, playing. Always loved the game, what it teaches you on and off the field. Develops you and teaches you things that you just don't get taught outside of it. I mean, just little things like just being disciplined with time and things like that. Just small things that really I started to love about football. You hate it as you're playing because you're held to those standards, but you start to learn how much it helps you later on. So that's kind of where I fell in love. And also, I'm a huge mama's boy, so my mom always really loved football. I'm a Pittsburgh guy, so she really loved the Steelers and things like that, and we just became a kind of football family. It kind of brought us a little bit closer together. We always had something to talk about, and everybody always revolved around football. So that's kind of where I just fell in love with it. And to be honest with you, ever since I began coaching, I've always kind of wanted to be pieces of coaches that I had that I really enjoyed. So I've always wanted to kind of be the coach that I always wanted.
Talk a little bit about like your history in terms of like your initial playing days and then kind of all the way up through into your coaching career and what brought you here.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Pittsburgh. Played there, left. I actually played at Miami, Ohio for 5 years. I started out playing defense. I went through 3 head coaches while I was there. So after going on the second head coach, he moved me to offense my 3rd year. So ended up playing tight end and going into my 3rd year. After that, had the opportunity to play in the NFL for a year and a half. I was on teams. Didn't play much. I was more of a practice dummy. But with the Washington Redskins and the Steelers. So that was cool. But to be honest with you, playing in the NFL wasn't something I was into. There was a lot of movement, and I kind of want to settle down. So I ended up coming back to Cincinnati just because I had a lot of more connections here from Miami, and I ended up doing student teaching in Colerain, actually. And I was at White Oak Middle School. It was my first ever coaching job under Coach Bolden. So I've known Coach Bolden. He has helped me get jobs. I've studied under Coach Bolden since 2015-ish. And he just always felt like I could do something. So I've really been around Coach Bolden for a long time. And like I said, White Oak was my first ever coaching position. From there, I went from White Oak. I coached at Turpin High School. Then I went to Princeton. Then I went to Reading. Then I went to Mount Healthy. And I went from Mount Healthy back to Reading again to be DC. And then I ended up being the head coach at Mount Healthy recently over the past 3 years. And now I'm at Colerain.
So quite the journey that you've had.
Been around a lot.
Been around quite a bit. So kind of the next question on the listing here was talking about, mentors that stand out. And if we talk a little bit, you mentioned Coach Bolden now a couple of times. You also had, you posted on X that you had a very lengthy conversation with Coach Combs. And so Coach Combs came back when I was a student here, and I remember him showing up, and I remember the state of Colerain in 19 something, right? And it was very different. And he brought in came into, I would say, a similar situation to what you're coming into now, right? Where the program is clearly kind of on the downside, not a whole lot of maybe faith or belief, but you've got the benefit of the history of the school. Talk a little bit about your relationship with Coach Combs and how much that has helped you or influenced you in what you do.
Yeah, huge inspirations. I've always just liked through both of them. I guess I'm a younger guy, but more of old school type of feel. I mean, the three coaches that I really tried to look into and kind of follow a little bit. Mike Tomlin is huge of the Steelers, but Coach Combs has been around me for probably the past 7 years. I met him while I was at Mount Healthy, and he kind of, I don't know, just his personality, I kind of just gravitated toward. He's always a hard coach, but he also knows how to love you at the same time. And I always gravitated toward that. I'm a hard coach now, but my guys know that as hard as I am on you, I love you, and know that that you can come to me for anything. And Coach Bolden is a very similar way. Very, very difficult, hard on his players, tough coach. But at the end of the day, for some reason, all his players come back to him because they know that he always has their best interest. So those are three guys where I've always tried to kind of be around people who have that similar type of coaching style.
So it segues beautifully kind of into the next kind of area when we talk about kind of your philosophy, right? So, obviously we can talk about all the, euphemisms about what it means to be a good football coach and the kind of values you want to instill in the kids. But, what are the principles that you want to instill in this team? Because a lot of these players, I'm sure, there was, some that maybe even question whether they wanted to come back. It's been a rough 2 years, right? But so you've got seniors, you've got juniors. I know we've got a very talented sophomore class. We'll get to them in a minute. But what are kind of your core values and principles that when you look at a player, say, listen, this is, if nothing else, forget the scoreboard. These are the things I want you to be able to say, I am this when I'm done playing Colerain football. What's important to you?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I am extremely grateful for this. And I say that to say that we have been able to provide the opportunity for our guys to have a foundation of God. It's not mandatory, obviously voluntary and things like that, but having a certain foundation in a relationship with God has been huge for me. It's really helped me along my journey. And I'm hoping at someday that the guys that choose that path obviously might help them later on down the road as well. That's been first and foremost for us. Kind of more what we've tried to outside of scheme and things like that. We have said multiple times that we have to be a team that it's hard to play against us, but it's harder to play for us. We want to just do things that break you down. We constantly want our bodies, our minds, emotionally to just continuously be very hard. We want to make it difficult in all aspects of our game, whether that's in the weight room, whether that's in the classroom, whether that's in life. We want it to be difficult because it's hard to play for us. We don't want people to just come here and say, hey, I can play here. We want it to be harder to play for us than it is to play against us. So we have said that multiple times. And our guys know we kind of take some of that old tradition, Colerain tradition, and it comes down to basically what we've said that they've been saying since the past, and it's really about running fast and hitting hard. We base it off of those things, right? We have to be a physical, dominant team, and we just have to be fast. I was talking to coaches earlier, and I don't think the game of football is that difficult. We as coaches, as adults, make it hard, but it really comes down to my guys run faster, my guys hit harder, and that's kind of what we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to where we're just more physical, we're faster, and we can just outlast people. And that's kind of how we tried to train them over the summer.
So that's great. And one of the things that you talked about there is a little bit of the history of Colerain. And we don't want to go into all of that because there's a ton. And I was doing the math the other day. it's hard to believe that just 7 years ago this program was in a state championship game, right? And we were, but these kids were in second and third grade, right? So they don't really have that understanding. And when you look back to if you told these kids, hey, look, this program won like 2+ decades in a row of GMC championships, and games were won by an average of 40 points, and so that all gets back to what Coach Combs brought at the very beginning when he started, and he brought in this goofy thing called the triple option, right, which people hadn't seen since Nebraska, 30, 40 years ago, and everybody thought he was crazy, right? And people complain, you got to throw the ball, it's got to be a balanced offense. That's not the way it works in high school. We know that, right? If you do one thing and you do really, really well, you got to force other teams to stop it, and for literally decades, Colerain was the preeminent public school program, I would say definitely in the city and arguably top 3 in the state every single year, basing that offensive philosophy of, we're going to run the triple. This is what we're going to do. Coach Bolden carried it on masterfully in the years he was here. But that's all in the past now. We've had a couple of years where I think trying to find that offensive identity. So let's kind of transition to offense. What kind of an offense are you planning to bring and have you brought to this team, and what can our fans expect to see on Friday nights?
I think the biggest thing, we have to get to the point where we're physical again. We want to be dominant, and that's not just when we say offensively we want to be physical and dominant. That doesn't just mean offensive line. We want our receivers to be physical. We want our running backs to be physical. We want our quarterback to be physical. We want everyone to be very, very physical. You will be able to see that in the way we play. Hopefully.
Yeah.
We also want to get to the point where we go fast. We would just again, that boils down to fast and physical, right? Those try to be staples in our offense, right? We want to be faster up front. We want our tempo to be faster. We want to run faster at receiver. We want our QB to read faster. So you're going to see a lot of those things. Run game, pass game, it'll vary week to week. Sometimes you'll see us throw the ball more. Sometimes you'll see us run the ball more. I am a guy where we want to be as balanced as possible, but if a team is playing us a certain way, we'll give them what they give us. That's the type of offense that we want to get to. It's kind of vague, but I don't really know. We're going to run the ball, we're going to throw the ball. We're not going to be the triple.
Right, of course. No, that's
we
fine.
will be variations of the triple nowadays. The triple has evolved over the years.
Sure,
so
yeah.
We'll be variations of that for sure, to where our QB will have options to choose from. But you won't see us under center here kicking our leg back, having a wing back. You won't see that. So, but we will be variations of it.
So multiple formation sets, I formation, maybe double wing back. There'll be we'll see a lot of different things on Friday night.
You'll see, formation-wise, you'll see multiple formations, multiple types of plays.
Okay.
We should be able to get a lot of plays in at one time. That's what we want to get to. We want to go really, really fast, and we want people to have to defend that. And we want people to have to defend the entire field, all 53 yards wide, and we want them to have to defend all 100 yards long. Right. So our job is to spread you out as wide as we can and to make you run as far as deep as we can make you run.
Talk about you're obviously the captain of, one would say maybe the entire team, but certainly on offense is the quarterback. Mm-hmm. So talk about kind of the not specific names, but what are you looking for from your quarterback? What is kind of his role on the team? What does he play in strategy? How important is he to the offensive side of the ball?
And in the offense that we're trying to run, he's really important. He has to make a lot of decisions quickly. Okay. And he's working on that. So currently our QB is young, but he has the tools to be great. And you see flashes of greatness. You also see flashes of inconsistency,
right?
Which you sometimes expect from a young QB, and we are going to expect growing pains. So don't be surprised by him. We're not. But we also want to expect that he is explosive. He has flashes of greatness, and I don't want people to be surprised by flashes of greatness whenever we also see flashes of inconsistency. He's still growing. He still has a lot of work to do. and we keep putting more on him, and he handles it well. He's also been a staple for our offense. Being young, you don't expect those leadership capabilities, but our offense has clung to him. He's been the type of guy where our guys feel he makes our guys feel comfortable. And that's like, especially our O-line. Like O-line, if you can get our O-line to love you, they'll help you out a lot. And I think our O-line just really loves him. And I think that's huge for him.
So we can go ahead and say, so we're talking about sophomore Roman Gar, who will be stepping into his first varsity kind of spot. What are some of the other players offensively that, like a Trey Smith, Donovan Chambers, Tariq Evans? What are some of the other players that you'd like to maybe call? And I know you don't want to individualize any, but there are a couple of folks we're going to be calling their names a lot on Friday nights.
Yeah.
Who are some of these guys, and where do you see them in the offense?
You'll see like a lot of the names you said. You'll see a lot of Trey Smith. You'll see a lot of Tariq Evans. You'll see there's the Deshaun Flagg. You'll see Donovan Chambers. They'll get Aaron Jacobs. We plan on getting the ball to our guys as fast as possible and letting them do what they do best. You'll also see running back wise. You'll see Carvis Davis a lot, and he's really good. Also, I'm a guy, and I want to. Our line has really worked really hard. So to be honest with you, those guys up front have been really the spotlight of our offense, to be honest with you. We got a lot of guys up front with experience now. And they've really been the highlight they've been the highlight to be able to get those guys the ball.
Yeah, and that's important, right? The big uglies up front. A lot of times they don't get the recognition, although because we have a former offensive line over here, Brandon, who's on our broadcast every week. We make it a good point to call out when they're making the good blocks, when they're opening the holes, because the running back can be dynamic, the quarterback can make all the right decisions, but at the end of the day, if there isn't a hole, then there's not much they can do. So that's all great to hear, and love to hear that. And I'm glad you gave the disclaimer that, look, he's young, he's a sophomore. There's going to be growing pains, but it's all about, and you've said this, I think, in a couple different places, and I love it. It's about progress, not perfection, right? And any good teacher knows that, right? It's like if you start off with an F and I get you to a C-, that's huge. I don't need you to get to an A. Let's see progress. Let's see better. All right, excellent. So we're gonna flip it over to defense now. So if you want to take a minute and kind of just introduce your defensive coach here, your defensive captain, that we'll ask a couple questions of you. Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
So who are we talking to today here, Coach?
Yeah, this is Coach K, Kadar Karan. He's been with me for 3 years now. He started off as a linebacker coach. He was actually working with freshmen. He started off as special teams coordinator with me over at Mount Healthy.
Okay.
He ended up moving into a DC role as I began to gain trust. He's a guy that works hard. I think that's where I was drawn to him was, you know what, I might not know it all, but I'm willing to learn, and I really want to work hard and become great at this thing. So I was a defensive guy for a very long time, and he reminded me a lot of myself. So I was like, oh shoot, like I thought I was really good, so why don't I give someone else a shot? And I'm definitely happy that he's progressing very, very well over these past 3 years.
Awesome. Well, Coach K, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.
You excited about the upcoming season?
I'm super excited. I can't wait. Coaching in the GMC, being from Pittsburgh, I was telling him, I grew up watching Colerain be a powerhouse. The last time you guys were in the state championship, I was graduating high school because I graduated in 2019. So all I know is Colerain being great. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And obviously, you walk around, right? You see all the helmet plaques. You see the the state championship banner. There's a lot of history here. Last year, I'm guessing the defensive scheme is going to change a little bit. So talk a little bit about what is the defensive scheme that you like to? So for the longest time, right, we played a 50 defense here. We were very familiar with that. I'm guessing that's not what you're going to present, or what defensively, how do you guys scheme up?
So we are very multiple, I will say. Okay. We have, depending on who we play, we like to take away what you do best. My job is to make you beat me with your second and third and fourth best option. We want to take away what you do best, and kind of make it uncomfortable for you. We're in a very aggressive style of defense. We want to be in your face, and I don't know, not to keep repeating, but we kind of want to be run fast and hit hard.
Yep.
And that's kind of on the defensive side what we want to emphasize, just every play, running fast and hitting hard. And that's from DBs, corners, safeties. We're asking them to hit hard. We're asking our linebackers to hit hard, our D-line to hit hard. But as far as what you're going to get as far as how we look, that can depend on what we're getting. Because, like I said, I just really want to take away what you do best.
So let's talk a little bit about then some of the players defensively, right? So I've got a list here of some impact players on defense, and I'll throw them out there. So Mo Williams, Gavin Colgram, Jeremiah Jackson, Ali Carter, Amir White, is it Jutai Black? Jutai Black.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I named them all, but there's some of those guys there. Talk a little bit about some guys that are standing out for us, at least at this point in the year defensively.
Yeah, so, I mean, all those guys you said, Amir White, he's one of our safeties. He's all over the field. He goes from, in the box to out of the box, and he's just one of those guys who can do it all. We have Ali Carter and Michael, who are at our corner positions. They do really well of, being able to cover, anything that they can see. We have Armani, who is one of our interior D linemen. Mm-hmm. He does really well of just being able to maintain and hold his blocks and control everything from the line of scrimmage. We have Xavier Sims. He's playing linebacker for us right now. He's looking pretty good and pretty strong and running fast and hitting hard. We have TVR, mm-hmm. which is one of our edges. His name is Tristan. One of our edges. He's kind of one of our captains. He became one of our captains of our defense and being able to just lead by example every play. And then the guy who kind of controls it all and makes sure everybody's in the right place is JoJo, one of our free safety, Joseph Crooks. He is doing everything by he's the coach on the field. When you always wish as a coach you could be behind them on a Friday night and tell them, oh, do this, do that. He's that guy on the field. He's my voice on the field.
So a lot of good names there, and so thank you for all that. That's great stuff. I guess my question is, so there's a lot of names there that I certainly don't recognize. It seems like has there been a lot of turnover? What's the return been? I think there's a lot of change kind of amongst the actual student population. What's it been like trying to get maybe some kids that are new? Because one of the big things that's changed, and I think it's effective this year, right, is we have moved to open enrollment, which is something that Colerain was not previously. The board approved that. So it's allowed for students maybe outside the district to come in. Have we seen a little bit of that? And how have they been melding, Coach Stevens, with the kids, the returners from last year?
Yeah, I think we have. We've had a lot of turnover. We also lost a lot, right? Over the past 2 to 3 years, I mean, I feel like every team in the city is built on Colerain kids. So, I mean, we've lost a lot. Yes, we have gained some transfers and some guys that help us out. But I do believe that they are guys that have been able to kind of mold with the guys that were already here. I think the guys that were here, they just needed a little bit of burst. They needed a little fresh blood to kind of help out. But to be honest with you, the core of our team is Colerain kids. The core of our team are guys that really bleed Colerain and stayed true to Colerain whenever most people decided to leave. So a lot of our team is built on strong bonds and ties to Colerain guys.
Excellent. We didn't get back to it, but I did want to circle back to it, Coach K, in regards. I know you said you're helping with special teams a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about special teams and how they look? Because we always would joke, well, we get towards the end of the center. We used to do this with Bolton all the time. It's like, okay, well, have you made it over to the soccer fields, and which one are you going to pick off to come kick field goals for us? So what do our special teams look like?
So we're enjoying that. We understand there's 3 phases to the game, and we feel like there's going to be some games that we can win on special teams this year. We're very excited. We have a kicker that we believe who can get the job done when we need it done. So we have.
He's a soccer guy.
Is he a soccer guy?
He is a soccer guy.
Okay, that's fine. It's fine. They got the feet for it, so that's all right.
Yeah, he is a soccer guy. He's definitely getting the job done and being able to get in. We have a holder, Blake Loggle, who is, he takes it really seriously. You know, he's doing the things and he's trying to make sure that everything is right, which is not something in high school football that you see very often taken as serious as he takes it. So I think it's very good. I think as everything is with our team, we run fast and we hit hard, and that's kind of the thing we preach on special teams too. And it's kind of a way that we have a lot of young guys who are kind of like, itching to get on the field. Like they're showing like they want to run fast and hit hard as well.
But I mean, maybe the most important guy we should talk about, right, is a long snapper, right? We got a good long snapper.
yeah. Blake Boggle, is being our long snapper. He's,
okay, good.
He like I said, he's taking it very seriously and very important.
Great, that's great. That's awesome. All right, guys, we're getting near the end. I don't want to keep you guys for too long, but there are certainly some things that I wanted to talk about again. Thank you again for your time. Really appreciate it. Let's talk a little bit about kind of the year, right? And overall, we're not going to get into a whole bunch, although I know it's interesting. You talked about all your traverses before, and you're going to be going up, right away in week 1 against a former co-coach of yours from Princeton, and Coach McLaughlin. But talk a little bit about, for you, Coach, how do you define success for this Colerain team this year? At the end of the year, however long it goes, right? What is going to be for you? What's going to define success?
I really think success will be defined on we should be playing our best game or last game. No matter when that is, I'm hoping that our last game we're playing our best game. When I say that we want progress over perfection, doesn't mean at some point we don't want to attain perfection. I think the thing is that we don't want to start perfect and then deteriorate. We want progress to obviously get us to perfection. So that being said, our last game, we should be perfect. By that time, we need to be able to we should have our roles figured out. We should be best at our position. We should be like whatever we're doing at that moment, we should be our best. So as the season progresses, we need to progress. And when the season ends, we should be playing our best ball. No matter when that is. I'm not going to sit here and say that we're world beaters. I think and hope that God willing, we shock people. I think that's the thing that I'm hoping for. And I also want to be a team. We look at success on the field, obviously, through wins, but I really hope and pray that our community is proud of our guys off the field. I'm really hoping that the kids they see wearing a Colerain football jersey, if they're walking down the street or they're in their restaurant or they're in their homes, I hope they say, like, you know what, these guys are good kids. I really hope that we can get to the point where they're saying that again, right? We know these kids are good kids, right? I see one in Kroger. He's a good kid. He's helping out, right? So I'm really hoping that, yes, we will always define, or the community, and we define ourselves by wins, but I'm also hoping on top of wins, I'm hoping that we have decent humans. I'm hoping we're creating decent human beings.
We're going to go a little bit off script now because I have to ask, and I'm just curious. It's a delicate balance because you are coming into a storied program that's kind of fallen on some hard times here recently. But how do you balance? Because I know, again, we talked about before, these kids were in 2nd and 3rd grade last time we were in a state championship game a few years ago. But how do you balance trying to get them to see, and they see when they walk the halls, but to see and understand what the history of this program was, and getting them to understand, look, guys, I don't expect us to be, playing in Canton in December this year. Like, that's probably not a fair expectation to put on 15 and 16-year-old kids coming off two years of no wins. But how do you balance that we can be great, but we have to do it in steps, and that these are those steps? Do you talk at all about the history? Do you feel you need to, or do you find it better to just leave that in the past and kind of forge a new path forward with this program?
First of all, I think you'd be surprised about how many kids actually do understand and know the history. A lot of these guys know, right? Their parents, their uncles, their aunts, their brothers, their sisters, they've been talking about this history to them for years. And even the coaches in the city, like whether you transferred here, somebody told you how great Colerain used to be. Obviously, we understand what has happened in the past couple years, but the way we kind of have been telling our guys is that, you know what, if you can't handle 2 years or a year, whatever, if you can't handle 2 years of not winning a football game, you're never going to be able to handle 2 years of struggling to pay a bill, right? So we're getting our guys to understand that, yeah, it's tough, right? It hard, like it has sucked here, right? Suck it up, right? Suck it up, move on, right? Because tomorrow you got to pay the next bill, right? You got to pay the next bill. You got to go to the next practice. You got so to us, trying to make sure that we're balancing the good with the bad, and trying to get them to see that yes, it was great, and yes, it can be great, and things like that has been something we've been trying to do. But in all fairness, and trying to keep it, trying to get them to see it, but also know that we're the future. It's more about, like, you know what, they did it before, so it should be able to be done again. It's really that simple. If you look at teams in the city, you could probably ask most of the teams that are successful, do you have any kids on your team that are from the Colerain community? I would say a lot of teams have a foundation of Colerain kids. You know what? So in my eyes, it's not that difficult, right? You have the talent, you have the resources here to be great, and people want you to be great, and you just have to put them in the positions to do that. That's it, right? I'm really not that good at this. I have good kids that make me good, right? I'm just the guy that puts them in that position. So for us, we just really harp on the fact that, you know what, it was done. This has happened. So now it can be done again. It's not like it hasn't. It's not like it can't, like this is an impossible feat, right? So like I said, we're not, when you say we're not looking to Canton this year, yeah, we're not, but we expect that of ourselves. We expect Canton. Every time we step on the field, every time we step in the classroom, we do expect that of ourselves, right? We always strive and push to be perfect, to be great. We want that. That's our expectation of ourselves. Hopefully when we land from that expectation, we fall on it, above it, or a little bit below it, somewhere in that. If we fall anywhere near that expectation, we've had a successful season.
Excellent. You talk about Colerain kids, and I really appreciate that. You've had a couple, I think, come back maybe and talk to the team a little bit. Can you talk a little bit about maybe who they've had a chance to speak with over the summer?
Yeah, so the cool thing, me coaching at White Oak, I had a lot of those dudes. So I coached Eric Phillips. I coached Javon Hicks. I coached Coach DSM, Deontay Smith-Moore. I coached those guys when they were at White Oak. So it was really cool to have them come back. TJ Ganella. So all those guys that played at White Oak, they've come back and talked already. Eric Phillips actually came back and worked out with us. I almost had Javon Hicks on staff. We had Corey Myrick come back, who is a recent grad. And me and Corey have been very close for a long time now. We've had who else have we had come back? Deshaun Pace. His uncle is on staff. And he came back to talk to us a few times. He even came out to work out with us a couple times. Who else has come back?
That's quite a list. That's quite a list. And it speaks to the community and the Colerain kids, to your point, and that want to give back, want to be a part, and say, yeah, you know, the great things can happen.
Yeah. And like I said, they're good kids. Yeah. Right? Like Eric Phillips, they're good humans. So getting them to come back was easy, right? It's and I coached them. I mean, 2015, 2014, somewhere in there. I mean, we're going on 11 years and we're still close. We're still talking. So I mean, it's really cool that after 11, 12 years, whatever it may be, those guys are coming back and helping me out and still loving and wanting Colerain to be back to what they're used to.
So we're gonna wrap up here. Again, thank you both for your time so much, Coach K, Coach Stevens. Really appreciate it. We'll see you throughout the course of the season. You'll see us in the press box. We'll maybe down on the field afterwards. Sometimes we'll do some interviews, maybe with you or some of the key players of the game. But obviously, you had your first try scrimmage, I think, last night with Harrison. Just off the cuff, you were a little late getting to the interview. I know you were working with coaches and players, specifically defensively. So just overall, what were your thoughts from what you saw last night for the first time, maybe with pads on against some players?
I think it was cool to see us compete. I think that's where over the past couple years where they're kind of lacking, to where you just need, like I said, we just want to see you compete. I think it takes us back to when we did our 7-on-7s in June. It was, our first 7-on-7, we struggled, right? That 7-on-7 was our first type of competition from the previous season, with a new system and things like that.
Sure.
The second 7-on-7 we had, we go to the championship, right? And we lose to a really good team in a championship and go 8-1. The next one, we go 8-1 and lose in the championship again. So, I feel like each one we got better. I think the same thing went for this scrimmage. I think we just wanted to see guys compete. Like, are you able to compete? Whenever things are going great, can you still compete? When things are going wrong, can you compete? And I think we did. I think a lot of our positions did really well at learning to strive through struggle, right? Are you going to struggle and be able to strive through that and still be able to compete your way out of it? And there's some spots where we're like, oh, well, maybe we need to flip this guy here, or flip this dude here, right? So we're still trying to figure those pieces out. But I think we did really well. I think offensively and defensively, I think we're going to be explosive. I think we're going to be, a lot of the time, we're going to be a high risk, high reward, right? We are going to force you to be more aggressive than us. And sometimes it's going to hurt us. Sometimes it's going to help us, right? I might throw 100 deep balls and not complete one, right? But if I complete one, right, we're going to score in one. So it's, like I said, we're a high risk, high reward. We also understand that these are high school kids.
Right.
So trying to get them to do what they do best is our goal. And I think we did that really well yesterday.
So for all of our listeners, there's one more scrimmage left. Can you kind of give the details on that for those who may want to come out and support the Cardinals here before the season starts?
Please come out, man. Please come out next Friday. It'll be like a game-like scrimmage against Bellbrook here at Coleraine next Friday at 7 o'clock.
And for those who are not familiar with Bellbrook, because they're not a Division I team, right?
Right.
They were a Region 3, were they a finalist, a regional finalist last year?
It was a finalist or won it. They were high up there.
So good quality team, good quality program.
Yeah, and
to
I
really
think
push the boys.
And I think the thing that I wanted to see in our guys is in the GMC, you got to stop the run, right? You got to be able to run the ball. You got to be able to stop the run, right? We wanted to schedule teams that we knew were going to try and just pound it, right? So we want to get better at stopping the run, right? Can you be physical up front? And I think the GMC is a conference where you can have all the flashy, shiny toys on the outside you want. But you know what? If you don't have the guys in the trenches to get it done, nothing else works. So we wanted to schedule a team that we knew would be very tough, hard-nosed, and kind of run it down your throat. So that's kind of why we went toward this route of getting a team that we knew would be like that.
And then after that, season opens up on the road, ironically against our only non-GMC opponent, LaSalle. I'm sure you probably haven't done really any game planning with them yet, but any early thoughts on Pat McLaughlin's squad and what they bring back?
Pat has been a mentor for a long time. Love the guy. He gave me a shot at Princeton. He knew something was in me. I even went with him to LaSalle for a couple months before I got a job elsewhere. But me and Pat, and I think he even made a call to help me get a job here. Pat has been in my life for a long time. His family and I are connected with my family. So he's always been a really good guy. So I know no matter what he has, he's always going to figure it out. He's just that type of coach. He's an old school type of coach to where, you know what, I don't care who I have, I'm going to figure it out. So I know they're going to be a very well-coached, hard-nosed type of team.
And that's all we need to know at this point, because it's week one's always a tough one. So, all right, well, gentlemen, we'll let you go. We'll wrap up here. Is there anything else that any one of you would like to maybe share with the Colerain faithful, our followers, and as we get ready to start the 2025 season. If not,
the rain will rain again.
the rain will rain again. We love that. We're we're hashtagging that in our X tweets as well. So it's fantastic. Coach Stevens, Coach K, thank you both for your time. This is Chris Simonitis with WeAreColerain.com. We will see you live in 2 weeks at LaSalle High School for Game 1 of the 2025 Colerain High School football varsity season.